who was always anti-Diddy and was always speaking about Diddy as a problematic person was 50 Cent.
He would do a lot of foul shit. Like behind the scenes, he would do some foul shit. Like,
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
Puffy was playing with your booty in Miami.
The moment Diddy saw 50 Cent walk into the courtroom, his reaction said it all. Eyes wide, jaw tight, hands trembling beneath the table. Gone was the calm, composed music mogul the public had known for decades. By day 3 of the trial, witnesses described Diddy as unraveling, visibly shaken. The breaking point came when 50 Cent publicly declared his support for Cassie. What happened next stunned everyone in the room, and it might just change the entire course of the case.
Now, Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
Let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. Dinner Thieves in theaters January 19th.
That's why he says things. He doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like, he says something fabulous and he goes, yo, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party. What is he talking about?
Incense is going off.
When people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like, he said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually. But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day?
I'm just not with all that flicky shit. Like all of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal.
For 3 decades, Sean Diddy Combs built an empire rooted in image control. We've seen him glide down red carpets with a flawless smile, breeze through tough interviews, and weather public scandals without ever showing a crack. His brand was built on composure, unshakable, untouchable, always in control. Remember that 2017 interview when a reporter pressed him about alleged payoffs to former employees? Diddy just smiled, adjusted his suit, and redirected the conversation without missing a beat. Or when his restaurant venture collapsed in 2012, he still showed up to the closing night party, acting like it was all part of a bigger plan. That was classic Diddy, cool, calculated, and always 10 steps ahead. Behind the scenes, this wasn't left to chance. Sources close to him say Diddy employed a team of 12 people dedicated solely to maintaining his public image. Every gesture, every answer, every facial expression, rehearsed, refined, and repeated. A former assistant revealed he'd spend hours in front of the mirror practicing interview responses. He even kept a media trainer on retainer who would throw surprise scenarios at him to test his ability to stay calm. But those who worked closely with him tell a different story. There were 2 Diddys, one former Bad Boy Records staffer, confided. The polished version you saw on TV, and the one who'd throw phones when things didn't go his way. Rumors of rage issues have floated for years, but they never gained traction, until now. The first cracks in Diddy's perfect facade appeared in the days leading up to the trial. Paparazzi caught him snapping at a fan outside his lawyer's office. Then came a tense pre-trial press conference where he gripped the podium so tightly his knuckles went white. Minor moments, maybe, but for a man who'd spent millions to avoid precisely those moments, they were warning signs. PR crisis manager Tanya Rodriguez explained it best. Celebrities like Diddy build personas like fortress walls, but under enough pressure, those walls crack, and once the cracks appear, the collapse can be fast and ugly. That collapse happened on day 3. According to multiple courtroom witnesses, Diddy's carefully crafted mask finally shattered. Court reporter Marcus Jenkins said Diddy was visibly shaking during parts of the testimony. His leg bounced so hard the defense table trembled. He interrupted his own attorney 3 times, each time more agitated, until the judge had to intervene. And then, the outburst. Diddy suddenly shouted mid-testimony, prompting Judge Harmon to issue a stern warning. One more disruption and he'd be held in contempt. Observers were stunned. His face was contorted with fury, an expression the public had never seen on him in 30 years. And just as he seemed to be regaining control, the courtroom doors opened. In walked the one person he never expected to see, 50 Cent, a longtime rival, a man with nothing to lose, and every reason to support Diddy's accuser. Witnesses say the moment 50 entered, Diddy's face went ghostly pale. The presence of someone with both the motive and the means to blow his carefully curated world apart changed everything. And from that moment, the trial was no longer just about legal.
It turns out that it's just been announced that he's created a docu-series on Netflix. I can't wait to see this. The other end of that, every person who has tried to speak out about this, who has tried to speak out about the industry, the type of people that are controlling the industry, the attacks that people face from the media if they try to speak out, is always the same. They're called crazy. And an example of one such individual who went through those sorts of attacks is the actor Orlando Brown. He was on Disney, and I remember everyone telling us that he was totally insane and deranged when he was saying a lot of things that at the time sounded crazy, particularly about Diddy. Take a listen.
The requirement is you gotta say no to Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
You can take the but he wants you.
Diddy, to me, is the fall guy. You're still seeing a major effort to protect the big names, just like with Jeffrey Epstein.
The story.
Tell him the story. So we talking about rumors, right?
Yeah.
And we, when you Google his name, there's a rumor that pops up that he was Diddy's boy toy.
Oh shit!
Right?
Wait, so this is
so Charlamagne said
it's not true, but I told after he brought up the stuff with you, I said, you know what 50 gonna say when he meets you?
Oh no, I don't know that was going on.
You know,
I can't wait to run into him again.
What you gonna say to him?
Puffy was playing with your booty in Miami.
You know what 50 gonna say to you when he sees you? What? I heard Diddy touch your butt.
Yeah. Wait till I see him. Wait till I see him. I'm like, yo. Yeah.
I've been with Puffy. I know you're not really tapped in, but what is it?
The last thing I saw was like a guy there. He was like, yo, he like pushed me into the truck. It really hurt. And he sounded like me. I was like, yo, look, I could find other things to do for money.
The rivalry between 50 Cent and Diddy goes back nearly 20 years, and it's never just been about music. This wasn't your typical rap beef. It was personal, relentless, and often vicious. Since the early 2000s, 50 has taken repeated aim at Diddy on radio shows and interviews and especially on social media. He's accused Diddy of everything from having knowledge about Biggie's murder to questioning his sexuality, sparking headlines and controversy with every jab. So when 50 Cent walked into that courtroom on day 3, dressed in a sharp black obe suit and his trademark sunglasses, the atmosphere instantly shifted. Court reporter Janelle Martin described the room as going dead silent. The tension was so thick, she said, you could hear people's phones vibrating in their pockets. Diddy, who had been whispering to his attorney, stopped mid-sentence. His head snapped up, and according to multiple witnesses, his face morphed from confusion to shock to something that looked a lot like fear. No one expected 50 to show up in person. Sure, he'd been trolling Diddy online ever since Cassie filed her lawsuit. Just last month, 50 posted surveillance footage allegedly showing Diddy assaulting Cassie in a hotel hallway back in 2016, captioned, "Money can't hide who you really are." The video racked up over 12 million views. He followed it with a string of Instagram posts hinting he had more damning evidence. What most people didn't know is that 50 had quietly been working behind the scenes. A source close to the case confirmed that his team reached out to Cassie's lawyers within days of her filing. He told them he believed her and wanted to help. According to that same source, 50 has always played the long game when it comes to taking down his enemies. This move wasn't just calculated, it was strategic. When 50 took his seat in the back row, the energy in the room flipped. All eyes darted between him and Diddy like a live tennis match. Diddy tried to focus on his lawyer's notes, but courtroom sketches showed him stealing glances over his shoulder over and over again. Then came the moment that truly shifted the trial's momentum. During the lunch recess, 50 stepped outside to face a wall of waiting reporters. He didn't hold back. Not only did he voice his full support for Cassie, he announced he was personally funding additional legal support for her through his G-Unity Foundation. "I'm putting money behind making sure survivors get heard," he told the press, "and I'm going to help more women come forward with their stories about powerful men in this industry." He made it clear, "This isn't about me and Diddy's history. This is about right and wrong." The moment word of this reached Diddy inside the courtroom, his reaction was immediate and explosive. Witnesses say he slammed his fist on the defense table with such force that his water glass tipped over. His attorney tried to calm him down, but Diddy was visibly rattled, his hands trembling. Court security even moved in closer to the defense table as a precaution. And then the timing got worse. Just as the room tried to settle, the prosecution stood and announced they were ready to present new evidence. Evidence they claimed would prove Diddy had lied under oath. What appeared on the courtroom screens next, according to those present, stunned everyone. And from that moment on, it was clear. The trial had taken a dramatic and potentially devastating turn.
He do a lot of foul shit. Like, behind the scenes, he would do some foul shit. Like, hating on, like, doing things with people I done business with that he done business with. He would say shit that I was like, he said that to you?
Right.
I was like, yeah, it's all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and niggas don't know what they like till they see somebody with it. So they want the girls after you're done with them and shit.
Yeah, leftovers.
Yeah.
You take your leftovers. A lot of niggas have my leftovers.
I was not offended by what I was offended by. This is
Wow, they found Kendrick and Wifey.
You know, that's obviously doing shopping. They got the same outfit.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's a nice shirt. That was a nice shirt. All right, so when he said the shopping line, in real life, what did you say?
I said, let me get away from him. Because it was like, he was like, yo, you hot now, we gotta hang out now. Like, you know, like hang out. Yeah. He said, I don't know, man, I'll take you shopping and I get you some flash and you can give me the hood shit. And I was looking and I was like, let me just move away from him because I'm gonna mess up the wedding. I always say to myself, like,
it was someone's wedding?
It was Chris Lighty's wedding. It's in Miami. Nori's there. Nori knows this because I looked at him like, yo.
The courtroom was already buzzing with tension after 50 Cent's surprise appearance. An electric, charged atmosphere where even the silence felt loud. You could practically feel the air crackling as everyone waited for what would come next. The prosecution team wore that unmistakable look, confident, almost smug, like they were about to drop a bomb. "Your Honor, we'd like to present evidence item 47B," the lead prosecutor announced. Immediately, confusion rippled through the defense. According to a source inside the room, Diddy's lead attorney jumped to his feet. "Your Honor, we haven't been provided with any item labeled 47B in discovery," he objected. That's when it became clear something unexpected, and potentially devastating, was unfolding. The judge called both legal teams to the bench. They huddled in an intense whispered conference that lasted nearly 5 minutes. Meanwhile, Diddy sat alone at the defense table, repeatedly glancing back at 50 Cent, who remained seated in the back row, unmoving. The courtroom artist later noted Diddy had started cracking his knuckles one by one, something she'd observed him doing only when deeply stressed. When the lawyers returned to their seats, Diddy's attorney looked visibly defeated. The judge turned to the jury. "The court will allow this evidence," she said. "It was obtained just yesterday." Then came the reveal.
All these years, you being the only one calling this out.
I look like I've been the crazy guy for a long time.
They said that you're a hater. They said you're crazy.
You do this, yeah. And now everybody's complaining. My ass is hurting. There's all this shit that's coming.
50, you can't make jokes about it.
No.
The internet might come for you, bro.
All I'm saying is,
it might come for you.
You see it now. All of these complaints. People were damn, they were and pillaged. This was what was going on, right? And what do I get for the? I went through years of a hater. You're a hater. You want this and that. I'm just watching. Like I look at things and go, when you see the new lawsuit coming with Jay, the part with Jay, I go, oh shoot, like. Then I think about it, I go, that had to be there. So when I was saying that he was missing, he just wasn't actively being out there because they was dealing with that.
Wait, do you think there's truth to the Jay thing? There's no way.
Like that, look, you know, so, like if you say, I have this thing where I'm conflicted when it takes you 20 years to remember something happened to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I go, oh, so 10 years, 20 years later, and it comes back. And it's like all of Puff's problems are coming from the ministers touching little boys.
What you mean?
The laws are the way they are because
because of the priests.
The priests touching little boys.
Oh.
Before the trial, Hollywood stood solidly behind Diddy. He wasn't just a music mogul, he was a gatekeeper. Celebrities flocked to his parties, collaborated on his records, and defended him publicly when whispers of misconduct surfaced. There was a protective circle around him, an unspoken rule. Speaking out against Diddy meant risking your career. He was too powerful, too connected, but all of that changed after day 3. The combination of the explosive courtroom footage showing Diddy allegedly assaulting Cassie and his public breakdown shattered the long-held code of silence. But according to multiple sources, the real turning point wasn't just the evidence. It was 50 Cent. 50 backing Cassie gave others permission to choose a side, an industry insider told me. Suddenly, people felt like they could support her without being the first one to jump. And they did. Fast.
Who's this guy trying to get?
I don't know. Like it's a simple suit situation, but it's like
20 mil. I could say it.
You still had the blackest face out. You still had to mimic his voice because he's like,
but his voice wasn't even that different.
And that little deep well, I was like almost like, no, that's you, young buck.
Yo,
almost felt like it was. I almost knew who it was. You know what I mean? I was like, nah. You heard what he just said, right? He's like, yo, certain things they let it go by because it's Puff. Like they would look, like he would say stuff, but it's like he wasn't like in the closet, he was like in the hallway. Now you see so much shit that you go, wait. No, this was visible.
He was in the hallway. We saw the video.
You see that video. It comes out later. You're like, that's not the closet. That's the hallway. He didn't get off hard. Like you can tell that he was already.
Nah, New Yorkers know. Because when Fab, he was like, yo, Fab, we ain't party. Fab was like, nah, we partying or not.
He's like, no, like, but he didn't party.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, they let that one go. Like, I had to say something about it later because I was like, oh, it was very.
The breaking point. How one outburst turned Diddy's trial into a public reckoning. The final explosion came during Cassie's testimony on day 3 of the trial, and it changed everything. The courtroom was packed. Media lined the back wall. Celebrities sat scattered throughout, and 50 Cent remained planted in his seat, arms crossed, watching it all unfold. Diddy had been visibly on edge all morning. Court clerk Melissa Johnson noted how he kept whispering, louder each time, to his attorneys. His leg bounced uncontrollably under the table. He fidgeted with his tie, loosening and tightening it, repeatedly. Signs of a man unraveling. Cassie took the stand around 2:30 p.m., calm and composed. She looked the jury in the eye as she recounted an incident from 2019. He said he made me and could destroy me just as easily, she testified, describing Diddy's threat after she tried to end their relationship. Diddy started shaking his head before she'd even finished. His attorney placed a steadying hand on his arm. The judge noticed his growing agitation, too. Court reporter Damon Williams later revealed the judge wrote something on a notepad and passed it discreetly to Diddy's lawyer. A warning, but the breaking point came when Cassie described a 2018 party at Diddy's Hamptons home. Legal. Experts agree Diddy's outburst may have irreparably damaged his case. Jury consultant Sarah Matthews explained, "Jurors don't forget what they witness. That kind of loss of control, rage, it sticks more than any testimony. Another trial. Analysts noted a visible shift in the jury's body language after the incident. Several members physically leaned away from Diddy, and outside the courtroom the fallout continues. Shares in Diddy's Revolt Media dropped 14% within 24 hours of the outburst. 3 major brands have quietly paused their partnerships with his liquor companies. His talent agency is reportedly reviewing his contract. Insiders estimate he could lose as much as $200 million in deals. Regardless of the final verdict, the power dynamic has completely flipped. Diddy, once untouchable, now sits at the defense table watching his empire collapse. Cassie, once too, afraid to speak out, gained strength and support by the day. And 50 Cent's calculated intervention turned what should have been a tightly controlled defense into a public reckoning. This case isn't just about one relationship anymore. It's cracked open the doors on long-silenced stories in the music industry, stories of abuse, manipulation, and unchecked power. And as more people step forward, one thing is clear: the silence is finally breaking.